Live at the fields here in Ghent. It is crossover time, our quarter-finalists in the Open Division, the largest of our three divisions here at the EYUC 2024. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, on the call for this matchup between France and Belgium, our finalists from the last time out at the Under-17s. France finding their way into power pools in the upper section, but suffering defeats from the top of the pack. Facing up against Belgium, who fought their way through the bottom power pool, Pool D, to reach this quarter-final stages. Belgium, at the moment, starting a strong campaign here. And of course, on the other side of things, Italy, Switzerland. But that first score, a break for the French. And the sun finally emerging here in Belgium. So home turf advantage perhaps for the team wearing red. Looking to start the second point of this game. So nice and simple, horizontal stack to get things going. Nice little find and a lovely lead pass straight into the path. Looks like birdie. Now that's a nice break, but goes for it one-handed and cannot quite make the bid for the secondary effort. Difficult one to bring in. But the French now with their second opportunity for a break in the game. Nice poach off and sag into the lane. So it's going to be a higher stool huck. And the defender going up early, but the French finding their style. That one called back, not quite in. Just passing back. Béchard now. A younger variant, because of course we saw another Béchard in the under-20s, but it's a pick-off from the defence. That one a little bit too dialed in and taken away. So bringing us back in action. Double cutting from the horizontal stack. Eventually coming through the underneath. Ongagat. And a big boost backhand huck. Tracked down by the athletes underneath it. And it's just about spoiled. You can see how much attention this game is getting. Some of our biggest crowds, plenty of French and Belgian supporters. And of course, I wonder if this game is perhaps being played in French, one of the official languages of Belgium, as well, of course, the official language for the French side. Nice moving up line again. Really beautiful flow, and I'm not sure who is matching up against Trophème, but that's going to be great defensive coverage. Adrien streaks through. Now picking us up. Van Dam. Dishes a high release, and then the swing through. Things looking a little bit static, but again, driving through from behind the disc with the hammer set. Now a nice little find up line, but it's going to be a little bit too much to be collected. And there's so many noisemakers in the crowds, the atmosphere really rising despite the early stages of this matchup. Things relatively calm on the far sideline. And then just puts that one out into plenty of space. The French just happy to break the mark, but it's not gaining them too much yards because they can't find the flow. And that one, the stumble and the miss, no, Bechard can't do anything to regain position. Bruno Van Dam now, again, picking this up. A little bit of technicality on the footwork there. I think Van Dam's pivot foot was on the line, which of course, as we all know, is out of bounds. And just a miss from Van Colly. And a big old huck. I think that's a lefty backhand. And just over the line goes the French player. And that is a second break in a row for this French side. This time, Corentin Armeur finding Maxence Garnier-Lesage. So a great start for the French here. But that point was a little bit of a grinder, 6 minutes and 10 seconds in total. You can see plenty of fans on the sideline. Just enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the atmosphere. Looking across the tournament so far, as we said, the French silver medalists last time we had an under-17s open division. Italians, of course, the defending champions, also finding themselves in a crossover match. At the moment, it's all about the Germans sitting pretty at the top of the overall standings. And in terms of wins, the Swedes not too far behind them. Those two have already made it, of course, into the semi-finals. This is all about now playing for a chance at medals between these two teams. The Belgians taking their time here, finding plenty of high stall counts, but holding their nerve. We see such dynamism in this hander set in terms of the just movements and squeezing their way through small channels, but that could be a rundown, not to D. Loses sight of the disc after the bobble. It just sails out of bounds. So the French looking to make it 3-0 to start the game. And they are going to choose another big huck, but this time so much gas underneath it. It's a big pack and the sky. Well, how about that for a little bit of magic? Great catch from Simeon Baldin. And of course, the Parisian has been playing for only the 4 years at 16 years old. The Friselli's player with a massive grab over the pack and then just a calm and cool throw into Gabin Barthelot. So a timeout being called, unsurprisingly, by the Belgian coaches. See if they can find their way through here, because it just has been about that extra bit of pressure. They are finding good form. They are able to move the disc. It's just a couple of throws going a touch awry. But there'll be lots of parents watching alongside. So I'm making the relatively short trip down from various other parts of the lovely Belgian nation. Of course, hosting quite a few championships this year. Had the elite invite in Leuven. This tournament here in Ghent. We see our little flag bearers enjoying the scenes. They'll be also hosting the European Ultimate Championship finals later on in Ostend, which is in the northern part of Belgium. France not doing so much in the hosting. Of course, the big sporting event at the moment going on is the Paris Olympics. But of course, ultimate only IOC recognised, not made its way into any of those games just yet. But you never know. So, current scoreline, a commanding lead for the French. They are looking to try and get themselves back into silver medal position. Now they've got still a campaign left to go, and of course, that extra game compared to the opponents that they'll face in semi-finals tomorrow. That one, nice high grab with the clap catch. Could have perhaps stayed on that break side for a little bit longer and just taken the negative yards, but an accepted foul. We'll start from 0. Back in action, a little bit of a shimmy shake. That's nice. A separation up line, but doesn't like the look of the throw. Nearly the tumble. That's going to be high. Oh, surely taken away by the defence. Yes, indeed. That one didn't look like it was ever going to get over the head of that waiting French player. Backhand through. And everyone cutting towards that front cone, that far line. Now it's going to be trying to push through from the back, but they take the swing instead. And goes for the quick spin move. And so easy to hit that. The left-handed athlete, Corentin Amour, putting another on the board. And Max Garnier with the goal. You can see how sometimes the discipline of the French leaves a little bit to be desired. For about 4 people cutting for exactly the same pocket, same channel at that moment. But they clean it up. And the handlers just go to work. So Belgium still yet to put a goal past this French force. And a 4-0 lead will be a nice way to put themselves forward. As we say, these two teams facing up after power pool stages here at the Under-17 Championships. The lower of the power pools was where Belgium emerged from. 3 wins against Switzerland, Great Britain and Austria. And of course, a reversal of fortunes for the French. They had not a single win in the power pool stages, but of course they emerged initially out of Pool B, where they only took the 1 loss against Sweden. So this is a rematch, and it was relatively tight, 13-11, that final score, but what a difference we have in this game. And a hand block taken away. Love that fist pump celebration. Denial defense. Very intense indeed. Nice little moves here all the way across to the break side channel of the end zone. And wow. Well, I'll tell you what, the French are just shutting out the Belgians. I don't know what adjustments they've made. Noah Bechal with the assist, finding Simeon Bardin. But this is such a change of fortunes from the last time these two played. And that one was indeed the Belgians starting on offense again, but they did hold, and then it was all about trading breaks, like a wave. And then that last little punctuation mark at the end, the 3 on the bounce for the French to take it to the overall score cap. But a very balanced game. Both teams spent about half of the game on offense each. At the moment, in this matchup, it's all been about the French just taking the options away, but also pressuring the Belgians into making mistakes. Many a stray disc. Our mind goes back to that opening section, whereas our live stream caught it of that just slightly casual single-handed grab. Well, I say grab, it was a drop in the end, but of course, it's all part of the learning experience. Belgium have learned how to win games, certainly in the power pool stages. But the adjustments for the French, you see how clustered things are? This is not zone defense being played by France. It's just a little bit messy on the structure and positioning. Belgium's not really taking those very, very small windows with comfort. You do see some styles where people enjoy that. Certainly South American Ultimate tends to favour that very sort of small ball, almost dribbling style of offence. If you're a fan of Frank Buchenard. But it'd be nice to see them just find a bit more space, bigger shapes, because of course, oh, it's a lovely layout bid. Hoping to get the defence. You can hear the sideline getting involved. A little bit of spill there. Of course, we are on artificial turf. Don't love to see anyone taking a no-contact injury on artificial surfaces, but it does happen. That is part of sports, and they're going to throw something a little bit creative out to try and get towards the break side a little bit more. But again, the handler's almost tripping over themselves. Now it's a little bit better spaced. So it allows that little moment of double teaming, just reacting. Oh, and that will work out. We finally have a score for the Belgians. What a grind that was. And look at the celebration. They all take to the field as the French water bottle trolley strides over to the line. But they put themselves in every position, every chance here of an easy win. But Florian de Vrij finally finding some magic into the hands of Remy Kerkhoffs. And so perhaps a timeout being called here with the water bottle trolley coming on. Trying to take the wind out of the Belgian sails. So the ball well out of bounds and will be brought into the brick mark. Just a little bit too much boost on that one. And we got to see a little bit of action from the French O-line coming out for the first time in true form. Of course, they'll have been rotating through their lines to keep folks warm. That's going to be one required with a rundown and a half, though, and it is. And immediately throws that one. Can he get there? No. Great defense just to smack it down and out of contention. And the Belgians will just figure out who they want. Bringing that one back into play. I think it was Panemans with the block. But either way, a team effort, a slightly loose disc from the French. Can they make anything of it? Perhaps a little power line being played here. Foul call. Martin with a very tight mark. Although a bit strange to see him actually just sort of shove him away. Because that in itself would be a foul. Just that little scoot back. Pisano. Oh, that's just a swing and a miss. You hate to see it. And the French call a timeout immediately just to steady the ship. Just going to have a little discussion about. Well, that's very strange. So I don't think it's well, unless it's one timeout per team per half. And there we go. That's more like it with a timeout. Not sure what happened on the one before in terms of the timeout being called, because you can call a timeout irrespective of the stall on the disc. But the French will look to have a little break here and think about things, because they can't afford to be giving up the margin they've worked so hard to grind out at the beginning of this game. But of course, the Belgians will probably be feeling pretty excited because they've broken the French before. They did it last time repeatedly and kept that game very interesting. Can they change their fortunes in this matchup? Coming back into play with the in-game, in-play timeout called by the French. And we've flipped from a horizontal stack format now to a vertical as the field starts to compress. Wonder if we're getting an up line with a reset coming around. We do indeed, but there's a official foul called. And I think that might be Lacoste trotting back. Or it might be Laurent Beaulieu. Not always the easiest to read these shirts. It is indeed Laurent Beaulieu. Of course, France have been having excellent attempts in the under-20s division. Missed out on the goal, but that one's a miss on the throw. Laurent Beaulieu, the second brother to represent Team France this year. But France find themselves in a little bit of an uncomfortable spot there against this Belgian side. Another foul. We're seeing a lot of contact during the course of this point as things start to get a little bit more intense, with the belief starting to rise in the Belgian camp that they can indeed bring this one back. After conceding that 5-0 scoreline. So this, to start the return. After just putting that offensive hold in the last point. Oh, they're catching a little bit extra wind on our video cam. And an injury substitution will have Noah Péchard, another of these French brothers. Quentin Péchard. Well, I'm making an assumption that he is related to Quentin Péchard. Of course, silver medalist at the world stage. Oh, indeed. There we go. So another of these second generation Péchards. Big shout out to the family back home watching this one. Oh, massive effort. That's the kind of energy you've got to bring to these. But it's going to be a break for Belgium. And look at that celebration. Wow. Can they do it all? The break train is currently in the station. It's reached stop number 1, but it's going to have to go for 5 more. So Belgium on the comeback. We do have a couple of familiar surnames that we're used to seeing as well on the Belgian side, more in the seniors divisions than in the youth. Although also, to be fair, the under-24s. Plenty of the Belgian senior squad had a great time in Nottingham last season. And of course, the Belgian fans with all of the noisemakers underneath our camera for you, just enjoying the sun that's finally made its way out of the clouds here in Ghent. Shout finds that one through. Oh, that's a rough inside flick channel to try and defend. Oh my goodness, second effort, not quite there. A little bit too much haste on that throw from Guillaume Laurent Beaulieu. Plays his club frisbee with mud. But that one just ending up destined for the turf. Oh, but it's a smack back to regain position. And what a position indeed. Will break immediately, but disconnected from the stack for quite a few seconds. Now, foul call accepted immediately. Julien Caillot. And that number 34. And a pick call will send the player straight back to the stack. Now around Lacoste. Well, plenty of fire underneath it for Babin. That's upline spill. Oh my goodness. And it's over the tape as well. Of course, don't be distracted by the goal lines here for the football pitch. There's little bits of tape that you can just about spy. Signaling that one over the line. Well, they hold on to that point to the French under-17s, but it looked a little bit spicy there after conceding the break. But Lacoste with the throw that was a touch wonky. Leopold Leclerc. As the rest of the team now vacate the pitch. And of course, we are blessed as always for the EUF events to have our pitch side scorekeepers, keeping the stats boards filled up nicely. So if you're the French coaching set, this is a big point for your D-line. They've been doing a great job so far in this game, but if they can break to take the first half, that will really put a dampener on the Belgians, but they're going to go for a set play, immediate huck. Oh, just not quite enough, too far away to make the play. Destined for what must be clears. But the full stretch required now for the French. And a bit of a stretch there to grab that one in. That one going to be easy pickings. Well, surely the Belgians can punch it in from here. Just have to take their time and remain focused. Trying to break the mark, but struggles a little bit. Oh, but that is a really great timing. Just about makes the recovery. Wow. It is going to be called inbounds. That was amazing. Just exactly what you get when you watch youth development players coming through. Stern Ongenat. Just absolutely, when the moment mattered, coming through. So no breaks for the French to finish off the first half. They're going to have to do it with the offense. After Ramon Van Coily put up that really lovely rapid fire break side throw. Just over half an hour expired in this game. And we are going to be over halfway through the points cap. We hit that 40-minute mark, I'm sure. Quick poll. Getting a lot of good depth on many of these polls, the under-17s. But a lot of them flying out of bounds. You can see there is a decent amount of wind on our field site. When the supporter flags are held still, you can see it's catching that little bit, but it's gusting every so often. So the Belgians coming out with a zone, trying to put pressure in more the minds of these French and nullify any super athletic downfield receivers. You can see the deep offense player, Martin, trying to keep things just a little bit interesting in the deep space, making sure that zone doesn't press in and make it even more difficult. But that's an amazing layout bid. I tell you what, I wish I could see that number a little bit better. I think that might be Stan de Klerk. But fantastic option to play that zone. This to keep the first half alive a little longer. Pick up field. Or it might be a marking infraction. Seems to be some demonstrating of hugs. But accepted hand signals from the mark. Just had the feel of a pick. There's a stumble, but all fine. That's going to be a big shot into the end zone and collected. Well, tell you what, the Belgians have woken up. Han Pisano finds what a face. And that will be good for the break. So another timeout being called. The French are all on the field with their trolley of water bottles. Seen quite a lot of those at this championship, so maybe part of the player gifts, team gifts, you never know. But 6-4, Belgians just nibbling away at the lead that the French had carved out for themselves. That 5-0, all of them breaks because the Belgians did start this game on offense. That's 2 to the Belgians tally. So still the French in charge. They will start the second half on offense. But they just need to hold their mettle here. You see them swinging around the back very nicely indeed. But that's just going to hit the deck and knock the hands of the target. The mentality of this French team, very interesting, because it's now just in their own hands that these errors are coming from, but it easily happens. They make absolutely massive plays. I think that was Fortuneau trying to get in the way of the Belgian pass. Just shy. Well, my frames froze there for a brief moment, so a turnover generated by the pressure. So close to the goal line. So can we get a clean effort here from the French? I say a lot of these errors have been just a case of decisions or executions. Although we do have to give massive credit to that fantastic layout bid on the zone before. Out of bounds call, but Nathan Fortuneau signalling he was very much in, which by virtue of our camera angle, we can also agree. Lovely inside. It's going to have to require a massive bid. There is no bid that comes, though. There's a bit too much underneath it. And again, we see a throwing error coming out of this French offensive line. Put a hand block to generate the turn back. Well, the intensity is really starting to rise. And another timeout. Last time the French took one in live play, didn't result in a score. And they're in almost exactly the same position they were in last time field-wise. So previous time it was a vertical stack, relatively disconnected from the handlers, looking for that sort of initial reset play. It's got many names, that drill that you play to just get it off the sideline, try and, whether it's up line or the player coming through from the front of stack. I wonder if it will be any different at this juncture. As we see some players going for a bit of keepy-uppy on the pitch. Well, I say players, none of them are cleated up in any kind of team jersey. Just a couple of folks, spectators enjoying themselves. Of course, they should all technically be behind the spectator line. But during the stoppage, they've decided to just enjoy the scenes here. You see the under-17 mixed team with their flag, supporting their fellow country folks. And our wonderful scorekeepers signalling the timeout is expired. We need to be getting back in play. And again, we get an action replay of exactly the same play. This time, not a single pass completed after the timeout is taken. There was separation for that swing pass, but it's a throw not quite on the money. French just need to try and steady the ship, but this is great news for Belgian Ultimate fans. Find themselves a little bit late on in the stall count with that option, but now moving it across the back. Not quite that full stretch, but a slinky inside break with the forehand. Now fakes the big around. And again, we're a little bit overloaded. Woof. In the hand set, that was very overloaded indeed. Puts that one up. Oh, and it just about doesn't make it. I thought that could have been good for the goal. But huge play, cannot save that. Becoming a little bit of a war of attrition this point. France just looking to get the first half finished after having ground so hard. Well, that would be a way to finish it if it can still continue and not hang too much. Oh, that had just enough on it. Goes to the reset. Barbin across. Now, everyone else collecting through. Can we get a bit of point and shoot? We do get point and shoot. Eyes on the prize. Bojan Chrétien. Or Boyan Chrétien, sorry. Just saying, I would like you to run over to that corner. And he gets exactly what he asks for. And Simeon Bardin will take us into the second half. 7-4. But that was a very elongated section of play. I thought we'd be finishing this one off before half of the time cap had expired. But not to be. Belgians putting on quite the comeback campaign. But only 2 to their name versus the 5 breaks for their opponents. The French a well-deserved 7-4 lead. And they will start on offense coming into the second half. But the fans on the sidelines still cheering, still enjoying the scenes here. A little bit of sunshine in Ghent. Maybe we'll see a little race between the kiddos holding their flags. So the second half looking to get back underway here in Ghent. We have a slightly extended half time just due to the summer heat for these young athletes. Of course, Belgium and France both spent most of the half-time break in the shade on the far right-hand side. Local temperatures of about 24 degrees of the highs, dropping at points to 13 degrees Celsius during the course of today. We did see a little bit of rain earlier this morning, but the sun is now giving us some lovely intervals. And we should have a clear night. And tomorrow will be even warmer, reaching highs in Ghent of about 26. And that final time slot, of course, with the slightly abbreviated schedule here at EYUC. Got a fully packed day of games tomorrow as well. This our sort of middle section of the coverage here today. After this field stream, we'll have Belgium, Germany in the women's division, and Italy, Poland in the final game slot of today, of course. Though it will all be about that Belgium-Romania game in the mixed division to finish off your fabulous Friday. And finishing that off defensively is Belgium, getting in the way of things. I think this French side are starting to perhaps just, again, look a little bit casual, a bit dialed in on some of these throws. It was a lovely option going downfield, but just not quite the right placement of the disc, of plenty of time for the Belgians to make a play on it. And a travel call. We'll bring that back one pass. And of course, we've got our Alti TV crew on the other pitch, currently covering the other side of the crossovers. That's the Italy-Switzerland game. I won't give you any spoilers for that one, but that one gets spoiled on the far sideline. So the French with a very short field opportunity here to try and consolidate one of these breaks by holding coming into the second half. Offhand for Chatrienne. Just giving and going on that far cone, winning the foot race. And they do indeed punch that one in to the scorecard. And we're starting to see a game a little bit more like the previous one between these two in terms of just the way things are happening out there on the field. Of course, the scoreline, quite the story. That will be an 8-4 lead now, as Martin pop that one into Julien Caillot. So can the French hold on, or will the Belgians start to really work their way through the gears and turn the cranks to convert a few more of these defensive break opportunities, because they are flowing out of the French at the moment. So it's difficult to feel too much pressure when you still have a 4-point margin, 3 breaks to the better of your opponents, and starting out strong in the second half. Obviously a very important part of maintaining the lead. Offside called, so that will be immediately bricked. We'll change the rules there. Used to have re-pulling. So following each other through. Oh, and there's the separation. Great poach off from Péchard at the back, but I don't think he's going to get position. However, the matchup that was supposed to be there all along, going in for the tussle. And they're going to have a discussion about the contact. In real time, it did look a very close battle. Bashar from behind, able to just give a little bit of extra perspective. So a contested foul, that one will come all the way back downtown. After the defender caught poaching a little bit. Can't quite figure out exactly who that is. That has the matchup now at the back of the stack. Not sure that's exactly where everybody was when the throw went up, but the last thing you can agree on, you just go for that. Belgium now really just trying to grind to the underneath space. But the French are dominating, and that is a fabulous layout bid. So the French have denied the deep block, but they get one on the underneath. They are really trying to force the Belgians to throw into big spaces, big windows, relying on their athleticism to make up the ground. Because it has been so much about this pressure, but it's taken away when the French try and go over the top, like they're forcing the Belgians to do a lot. A touch of sagging into the lane there. Oh, that one's low, too low, surely. No, it's going to be good. Well, always going to look wrong from our angle up here. High in the sky on the video cam. Pick call. Quite a while before. And you can hear a call from the sideline saying, let's go quickly, quickly. That's a lovely upline grab. Oh, and just shoots it straight away, but it's too much. And you can see the hands of Otto Budi just underneath our camera, reaching the back of his head. So it's an injury call. As that heroic effort in the end zone hopefully just gets a little bit of too much of a winding. A little bit tricky to see on the far side of the field exactly what the numbers are on many of these wonderful Belgium shirts. It's a nice strong font. Looks very impacty for your font nerds. But not quite the same level of cleanliness from afar as some of these French numbers. Picks across the stack. You can see a little bit of surrounding defense, but they don't play help with each other. They just sort of surround the stack. Be nice to see the Belgians switch a little bit more on those first 3 seconds of the French offense. But of course, when you're going for getting the right matchups, sometimes you don't want to play in that fashion. Oh, that's a beautiful forehand all the way to the bank. Noah Bashar collecting. But that was all about the throw. Me oh my oh. Thomas Lacoste. So Thomas Lacoste from a place that I'm not sure how to pronounce, but Jonas. But a freeze go athlete. And a little bit of checking things out. So Josnes is just outside of Orléans. And of course, sandwiched between that and Blois. Blois, of course, the home of the Friscoes. One of many, many, many options for French junior athletes to hail from. Plenty of Angers, Nantes, Paris. And of course, lots of beachy folks in the La Rochelle region. But the Belgians now, with the disc in hand, looking to try and go toe-to-toe. Oh, that one's way too much bounce on it. Amur expands that left hand, finds those forehand breaks probably a little bit easier. Maton now. That one spills out of the hands. A great attempt for Balthazar Troffen. But the Belgians recover off of the French slip. Kirchhoffs doesn't really look for it back aggressively, despite the run-up line. Out to the inside, break hand, backhand. Pick. Now back in play. Belgium looking to go up line. Again, really beautiful reaching grabs on some of these up-line passes. You almost think you'd rather have them be a bit more secure, but they look very pretty indeed. And a battle to finish that one off. But Mikaels comes through off the throw from Luca de Roy. And Belgium put their first point on the board for the second half. And we are starting to run a little bit out of time here for them to really put the comeback on. Of course, the French getting that break of score in the second point of the first half puts that extra pressure on, as they're now back to 4 points above their opponents. But of course, this, in theory, is the harder of the two quarter-final crossovers. You did mention that the other game is going on the alternate live stream. So much coverage from this Under-17 championship. That one with full production capabilities, though, replays and everything. And a diamond pairing of commentators. Rapazzo and Durbin, back to backing here in the lovely Ghent. So we're back to the horizontal offense with 5 players upfield, still managing to have great separation. And Belgium's not really responding it too much with the poke shots, but that was really great smother cover from the force. Big collision afterwards. They are going to have a chat about it. I think the French player underneath felt a little bit robbed of opportunity. Of course, everyone fighting for these discs. It's a very important game. I mean, this to see yourself in the top 4, guaranteed a 3 and 4 chance of taking a nice shiny medal back home. Well, for some of these Belgian folks, of course, we do have gentle representation on the field. It will be a very short journey to take it home because they're already here. There's something very nice about winning when you can celebrate and then go back to your own bed. So Belgium looking to just swing things around. Oh, but that's a bit too adventurous. You can see that there was the race in. I think that might be the bucket hat of Panamans. Nearly some friendly fire. But a short field opportunity will be taken. Maybe. But that was such great defensive pressure. Oh, but it's a backhand around break. You can see the effort that was put in, but not quite enough. So that is another goal for the French to take their tally now to 10-5, 3 points away. Fortuneau with the fortitude to bring that one in, despite the intense pressure of this Belgian D-line. And 15 minutes left when that point started. So just over 10 minutes left now of regulation time in this quarter-final matchup between two nations with such excellent junior programs. We talked a little bit about, of course, the lovely hosts, but as well as gentle players, we do have some Brussels athletes. Of course, Brussels, the home of the Mooncatchers. And the Frisbees up in Bruges. Frisbee also played in Mechelen. As well as also, and who can forget them, the wonderful folks in Leuven with Jet Set. Trying to put the Jets on now, this Belgian under-17s team. Almost at moments they look surprised that there isn't the option downfield that they envisage when they turn to look. Now that's really nice cohesion between the handlers. Oh, you spicy, spicy boy. What a lovely throw. Not many people can pull that one off. A hammer leading to the far side swing. Now talk about creativity. Well, Elias de Vrij finding Stern on Jeanette. And the last few moments of that possession for the Belgians. And the French, 3 points to put on the board. They can just cruise through now, but a timeout perhaps being called in this particular moment just to rest folks. Perhaps some power lines now being played as we are still indeed just over, well, just under, 10 minutes left to play. So indeed not a timeout being called, just everyone flooding the field for the French to listen to the coaches, listen to what the next point strategy will hold. It's another out-of-bounds pull, but only just. Again, the quality of some of these pulls in terms of the distance. Very impressive. And that one, of course, against the wind. Ever so slight wind. She actually now, it's just the heat of the day. Barely any breeze at all. High stall situation. And there is the deep option emerging, but he's slowed down, and that's just an easy clap catch. Nearly the spoils. The French really are not making it easy for this Belgian side. Pressure on every shoulder. But they are grinding things through. See if they can find a way. Now thinking about that one to the front cone in plenty of traffic. Not exactly the most spacious offense you'll see, but it works. And that is a break again for the Belgians. They still trail by 3. They still need to shut out these French under-17 boys. Quite some distance to push themselves over the line. And of course, as we already said, the winner of this game facing up against one of the teams that got a bye round coming out of Power Pool C. And in this tournament, that will be Germany and Sweden. And of course, this is the side of the bracket that is tougher to get your way through. Here's the top spot from the bottom power pool and the bottom spot from the top power pool will go toe-to-toe with the team yet to stumble against a single opponent, and that is indeed Germany. It had another win against Sweden earlier on today. That went 13-8 in favour of the Germans in pretty fast fashion as well, as the French now come out of that 5-person horizontal stack. Now up line, again, losing their spacing and their structure when you get sort of into the later stages of play at points. Just fair enough. Obviously, it's not always the most preparation available for national teams. Oh, that is a spicy inside throw. It's going to make it as well. And an immediate lead pass. Pops the hand out, and that is much more like it for this French side. That's the kind of offense we saw at the beginning of the game when they went on that 5-0 run. Laurent Beaulieu finding Noah Tachard. And Tachard, unsurprisingly, right at the top of the stats board in this game, alongside Simeon Barda. Both big favoured targets for the French when they get towards the end zone. I think just that extra little bit of depth for this French side, although coming into the tournament, the expectation was that the French under-17s squad was going to be a little bit depleted. They might have a bit more of a mixed roster. Although, of course, Austria has the youngest roster with an average age of... sorry, no, not an average age. It's not Austria. They've got a youngest player in the division, but the youngest average age is Switzerland, with 15.4 years amongst them. But yes, France with the 4 training weekends coming into this championship, having watched their under-20 squad go all the way to the final. Can they find themselves a berth into the gold medal match too? The Belgians, of course, with their own inspiration coming in a few weeks. Everyone with some very high hopes for the defending European champions of the Open Seniors Division. Now, can their under-17s find the same sort of form? They are indeed on the chase, on the attack in the latter stages of the second half. Oh, that's a lovely bit of offense, but it's just a bit too spicy on the final throw. Again, making every attempt, but I think it's just a little bit of a case of end zone eyes. That little moment of, I see an opportunity to make a score happen. Certainly, we've only seen a couple of end zone spoils from the French. Their errors have been more or less consistently trying to hit the underneath shots. And a couple of undercooked hucks where the window of opportunity perhaps disappearing. Oh, recatch game of pinball for one in the centre pocket. Looks that high release. You have to give it to the French at the moment. Their breaks around the mark are really fine stuff. Arcing backhand, and it's taken away again by the Belgians. Although it does look to have been a bit of a collision there, perhaps some friendly fire. So upline squeeze. And there comes the big boost. Well, the Belgians have been winning many of the sky battles. And they will punch in the break. Well, will it be? Will the Belgians see themselves into semi-finals? The stream has returned. Well, I can give you an update. What we've missed was a singular point before this timeout has been taken, which was a goal for Belgium. It is 11-8. Vadim Edrien finding Ramon van Koili. And this one, an in-play timeout. Both teams using all of the timeouts available in the first half, but no one taking a timeout up until this juncture in the second stage of the game. The French just taking their time to leave the field. And lots of hand slaps between these two teams. Not the first time they played in this tournament, as I said. The last time it ended around this very scoreline. They played each other in the pool stages initially. Violation called, everything starting a little bit too hastily. So a shot out of the blocks. Can that one be reeled in? Yes, it is. Huge layout goal for France. That just keeps things grooving through. 3-point deficit for the Belgians as that one now goes back to 4. 12-8. Now, first timeout used so far in the second half for the French. This time, working out for them. Going right to left. We had those two turn and burns, as you might call them. Shooting the opposite direction in a very similar part of the field. So all still to play for, but we have had the time expire in this game as far as I'm aware. Regulation time of 80 minutes. So Belgium needing to keep punching these in. As Belgium just swinging it gently around the back. Just moving against this relatively passive zone now of the French, or at least it's zone at the front, but almost match marking in the deep space with the Belgians not overloading the hand of space too much. Now, great little find on this near sideline. Plenty of yards churned up by finding the swing to Van Dam. Now that one, I think from Duclay. This Belgian team certainly not afraid to be creative. And they'll need to find some creativity for sure to get the disc away from the French and take the game out. So if I'm not mistaken, it's now a case of next point on the board for the French will end the game. It's a lovely collection. And just over the goal line, well, perhaps some confusion with the box versus the tape. The permanent field markings for soccer. But a little pizza servery celebration on the end of it, and that will be good for the Belgians to keep this game within a stretching distance rather than reaching. One of Van Damme finding that final pass to Ethan Petit. But we're now well into the game. Can the French finish this one 13-9? So I do believe that would be the game finished. You don't have injury, additional stoppage time. So France coming out again, but this time with three-handers back. Can they find the structure and keep it clean, or will the Belgians get a look in to see themselves into semi-finals? That one denied by the reaching arms. You can see that little set off and swivel from Martin Fontenot. They're going for the big shot, but there's no one underneath it for the French. Perhaps a bailout of the cup. So this a huge opportunity not to be missed for the Belgians, or they'll have to settle for playing for fifth. Rose through the power pool stages, emerging out of the bottom, putting themselves with the opportunity for this quarter-final. Just being patient, taking the options and holding good structure, not getting in each other's way too much. The hand is set really dominating the proceedings at the moment, more or less. Now emerging from the stack. Can they push it all the way without the errors? You can see almost a little hesitation on the undercut there. Then around, but a push-off foul is called and will be accepted, so that one will go back. Still count rising all the way up as the field compresses on the French plate. All of the red zone defense they possibly can. They've got a couple of match points to burn. But of course, everyone that the Belgians strike off will put enthusiasm and hope into the tank, and that will do for the first of many required. Leon Panemans finding Son Ongenart. Well, the fans on the sidelines, very excited, as are we watching, just to see what happens here. Certainly this under-17s Belgian roster showing a lot of grit and determination. Ongenaert alongside Ramon van Colly. Stats leaders coming into this match for the Belgian side. Can they put those power lines on repeatedly now just to see things through? Or will it be France taking the inspiration from their slightly older counterparts? So many Belgian voices, but plenty of slaps between the teams. There have been collisions, has been contact in this game. That's a little nice fielding of a deep pull. Oh, and that's going to be a strip. I'll have a little discussion about it. But of course, you do have to come in and make these plays. Both the Spirit captains in coming to just aid the discussion. Perhaps a bit of translation, depending on the common languages here. Of course, one of the things that's always impressive about Belgians that can just flip between any of their official languages to regions within a relatively small European nation, the Flanders and Walloon regions. But the French, with it all to see slip away if they cannot punch in one of these match points. Oh, but that's a clean layout D. Wow. So Belgium, goal line opportunity, and they're going to punch it in. Wow, what a comeback we are witnessing here. I'm so glad this stream was able to come back after we had that short technical snafu. What a game we have on our hands in the late stages. Can the Belgians turn their fortunes around? It was a 5-0 lead to start this one, and that's 3 now on the trot. So 5 breaks for the Belgians. The French snatching the advantage of starting with that first point on the board. Their break tally is 6. So they still sail that one clear before we go to Universe. But they have been slipping, they have been stumbling, this French side. There have been moments where the errors have crept in. 2 as well for the Belgians. We are seeing a timeout being called. No surprises there. Either team could have called it, really. Possibly the French to just try and remind themselves who they are. They did have a difficult route through the power pool stages. Losses against the Swedes. Final point finish. It must be Universe because it didn't go all the way to 13. 12-11 defeat to the Germans, who haven't dropped a single match. So the calibre of this French side cannot be denied. And of course, that big statement to open this one up 5-0. But Belgium, all the way from the 7th seed in the tournament, fighting their way through Power Pool D after being nudged out in the initial pool stages, wins over the Swiss Great Britain and Austria. Can they bring us to Universe Point? The atmosphere here in Ghent. Hometown heroes. The Belgian under-17s team now coming out on defence. Not for the win, but for the opportunity for the win. The rhythm of this game, 4 minutes each for the last 2 points. Almost exactly on the dot, getting towards the full time cap allotted into this section. So we may get a brief pause of the next round. But everyone now on the sidelines chanting for the defence. The French just looking to hold on. Pick cool. Might send that one back. I'm sure Noah Péchard does not want to let go of the disc. It looks like he will maintain possession. There is a player right at the back of everything. As Belgium try and get the break train fired up for one more go. Another violation as everyone obviously feeling the nerves, feeling the pressure. Richard getting us back in play. You can see the structure again starting to break down, confusing those channels. Players that are grinding themselves free, not always able to collect, but that's a great one from Caillot. It's been so consistent during the course of this match. Now they hit the break side. Martin. Firing all the way across. Big effort, but not close enough to make the bid. And that one's thrown at the floor. And you can see the emphatic, frustrated energy coming off of the French right now. They must be wondering, why can't they put in this final point? They had worked so hard at the beginning. My heart goes out to them. As a team, it's so hard, but at the moment, the Belgians looking to do something a little bit historic here, going from 5-0 down on the brink of Universe Point. Again, still not for the win, but just for the opportunity to do so. Opportunity beckoning, the window opening, a big huck, and it's going to be the Belgians with another break of score. 4 on the bounce. My word. We are going to Universe Point here on the VO live stream. This is absolutely incredible. Leon Panemans bringing in the goal. Vadim Adrien throwing up an absolute boost. And you can see the French fans on the sideline watching and feeling a lot of nervous energy, I'm sure now. Well, what an absolutely phenomenal quarter-final. The top spot from the power pool at the bottom of the standings, and synchronicity of the class. You have to think that that sideline is really giving the extra edge to the Belgians. But this is such a way to build youth athletes, big games, big moments, big hopes and dreams. But only one can go through to the championship bracket at the very top of it all to face up against the Germans tomorrow. And what a team to beat. The French got very close to doing so, as we already mentioned. They had that 13-11 game in the opening stages, second game of the tournament. And of course, the French pushing Germany 12-11. So rather than a trade of breaks, that little wave effect of the lead never really being pushed forward, taken away by either team. The French just watching this one, slowly slipping further and further away from their grasp. But the Belgians, of course, on the other side, watching it inch closer and closer to reality. Still lots of hand slaps between the opponents. And our volunteers and staff trying to, in fact, that is Andrea Ferland Odi, the president of the European Ultimate Federation, making sure everyone stays behind the spectator lines as we get into universe points, sudden death finish with an out of bounds pull to start us off. But that was so close to being perfection. You have to think finishing off on a Callahan on universe would be quite the thing. Quite the thing indeed. So, same strategy as before, 5-person horizontal stack, immediate undercuts coming through from it and bouncing across that slash. Now, can they keep the spacing? Can they keep it clean, or will they give the Belgians a sniff into semi-finals? The noise from the sidelines. The hopes, that one well collected, an injury, just a collision with the knee. And that is Pacha coming off, which would be a big loss for the French. Just obviously not intended. Just Pacha had to make that adjustment at the last moment. But he will be attended to by the medical staff. Massive thanks as always to all of the medics that come and help with these tournaments and keeping the athletes strong. So he'll be replaced. Oh, that's a great rescue. Just all the way across. Can they put that final point in on the break side? Violation call. But I think that was the save from Julien Caillard. Again, that number 34 coming through strong in the late stages of the game, has been very consistent. Looking for that inside channel, turns around and puts the reset in. Marmaton through. A bit too much dancing. Now there's a clear lane to go for it, and they go for the up line. At long last, the French are able to use a match point and make it count. But look at the scenes here. Our camera gets a bit distracted by the movement on the far side, but you can see how much that meant. Players flat out on their faces, thanking every deity if you're the French side. But what an absolutely heroic performance for Belgium. They just didn't quite have enough in the final moments. But what a fantastic finish to our quarter-final here. Well, things really heating up at the European Youth Ultimate Championships in Ghent. My goodness, 2024, what a year for Ultimate. Coming up in the next slot, we will have a matchup between another hometown set. It's going to be Belgium versus Germany in the women's division, but I will bounce out of here. It has been a pleasure to bring you the late stages of this game. Commiserations to Belgium. Such a hard-fought game, such wonderful plays, but congratulations to the French. They are going into semi-finals tomorrow.